G'day there ladies and gents of the internet, I am the Braveheart Aussie and welcome to a journey in world building. And this is our state of the project video for the second half of 2024. In this video we will explore the world building project this channel has to offer, the future of the channel and the Dark Diaspora project, and the endeavours and initiatives I'm seeking to implement as we approach the end of the year and the beginning of 2025. First of all, let me say a huge thank you once again to everybody who has helped us reach 50,000 subscribers here on the channel. It's an incredible milestone and we've achieved it very shortly after our 1-year anniversary of starting the channel, so it's amazing to witness such incredible growth in such a short period of time. And the channel keeps growing stronger and stronger, and we're expecting to reach 100,000 subscribers by this time next year at the latest, so as long as we can maintain the energy and excitement associated with the project, I have no doubt we'll get there. And speaking of the project, let's talk a little bit about our main world building project here on the channel, the Dark Diaspora. As we talked about in our last State of the Project video nearly a year earlier, we are currently in phase 2 of the project. While we've examined things like factions, for the most part our focus has been on settings, which we've been exploring in much greater detail. Over the last 9 months we've explored the planets and systems of Samiyaji, Los Serion, Corix, Kopachia, Koton, Fool's Edge, and most recently the planet of Harlos in the Tyson Sector Compact. Through these planets we've been able to explore a diverse range of settings, all of which have been having different levels of local terrors. These continue to reinforce the Grimdark elements of the Dark Diaspora, which is a big focus for me as part of this project. However, I have noticed that because many of the planets and systems that we have been exploring to date are core worlds of the Diaspora, many of them are the most habitable and therefore have the highest socioeconomic development. Therefore, they're lacking some of the darkness and the grittiness that I've been seeking to imbue a lot of this universe with. To address this, my focus over the next 3 to 4 months is going to shift a little bit from core worlds to that of more backwater settings in which the primal challenges of greater terrors can be more fully explored. I'm really excited by this prospect, as a previous poll on my channel about which planet or setting you enjoyed the most identified Corix as the winner by a commanding majority. And I think I agree with that because Corix was one of the least terrestrial settings we've explored to date, and I think that opened up a series of interesting thematic elements for us to explore that are not available when more traditional style worlds are examined. I also think I'm going to start using some of the roll tables on a couple of worlds, basically creating random settings from scratch. These will be settings that I haven't given any pre-thought to, and instead we can explore these together with a level of interactivity from week to week, providing opportunities for yourselves as the audience and members of the channel to participate in the world building process. I really love the use of roll tables as I feel they add a level of randomness to different aspects of world building, to which they can help to create a more uncomfortable, disjointed setting, which really feeds well into the ominous vibe we're going for as part of this project. So keep an eye out for some more of these backwater and random setting approaches over the coming weeks and months. Speaking of roll tables, I just also wanted to provide a very quick update on the tabletop role-playing game side of the project that I had previously commenced. As I mentioned in a previous video, that side project is currently on hold. There remains an ongoing focus of the project in the medium term. In short, it was just too much work for me to focus on at the moment, as I'm still concentrating significantly on investing in the world building and lore development of core settings within the universe. Having said that though, the idea of a TTRPG based on the Dark Diaspora remains definitely a part of the medium term plans of the project. However, focus around the TTRPG element in the short term is going to be more on ensuring that specific features and aspects of the world building remain compatible with the future porting of this universe into a TTRPG format. I feel like I've already done a lot of that in the Dark Diaspora, so ultimately it's mainly just about needing time in order to build up more of the world and the lore, and being in a position where workload wise I can shift it over into that format. One thing I am considering is linking the TTRPG initiative to a future development pipeline linked to my Patreon, maybe as me GMing a small group of players in the universe as like a top tier reward for those who support me on that platform. However, this is definitely now something for later in 2025, and may in fact align very closely with as I transition the project from phase 2 into phase 3. One element I'm thinking to add to Phase 2 will be something I'm going to call threats. So far to date, we've had local terrors, and these have been the principal source of Grimdark flavour being added to the Dark Diaspora Universe. The main exception to that is the malady, and it's actually the malady that has given me some of the inspiration to add threats as an element to the project. These would extend beyond local terrors and setting-specific challenges to be more sector or even whole-of-galaxy encompassing dangers, and add a more celestial level of danger and horror to the universe. This could range from eldritch space-type creatures and monsters, interstellar reality-distorting waves, or even unusual space weather like passing dust clouds that create all manner of hazards. Once again, these threats are going to be developed in mind for the future application in a TTRPG format, as the threats would offer another opportunity for a GM to use roll tables to create unique environments in which the individual stories that are being told can be based within, and to highlight the expansive nature of the universe and the galaxy that's continuing to evolve outside and beyond the specific location in which the party is operating. While settings are going to remain the focus for at least the next 6 months, I definitely think we're going to start seeing threats and along with factions add more and more to the content of Phase 2. As I mentioned earlier, I'm starting to consider what Phase 3 of this world building project is going to look like. When we've previously discussed that of phases, the idea is that we'd have something around major characters within this current phase, and then Phase 3 would be things like story arcs and plot points. I definitely think some of that breakdown will continue, though major characters will likely move more into Phase 3 as part of a more narrative focus being built into that phase of the project. However, I'm starting to think that Phase 3 is likely to also include a focus on more tangible outputs associated with the world building project. This could be creative outlets on other platforms like World Anvil, even book or story writing, and of course the TTRPG development would potentially sit within this phase. Regardless, looking forward into 2025 and even into 2026, there will come a time which we will effectively draw the Dark Diaspora project to a close and turn our attention to a second project. While I envisage that there's always going to be elements of world building continuing to take place in the Dark Diaspora, there may be less and less frequent content as we shift focus to a new project. There may in fact be an overlap between the start of the second project and the end of Phase 3 of the first project, particularly as I take more and more of the content development in Phase 3 offline or move it over onto different platforms. As we've seen from this particular project, world building is a long-term endeavour, and we're going to continue to enjoy the journey as much of the destination, hence the name of this channel. The immersive experience that we've had developing more and more detail into the broad concept of the Dark Diaspora Universe has been incredibly stimulating and is an amazing creative outlet for me and one that I love sharing with you. To that effect, we'll be seeking to relaunch the Discord server in the new year and make a big push to bring people online and for it to become a more active place for all of the world building we'll undertake. I'll also be making a bit of a revamp to the Patreon page, which to date really hasn't hit the mark, but is likely to become more and more important as opportunities to take world building project into the next phase, invested with very applied formats, becomes a more and more viable opportunity as we get closer to 100,000 subscribers over the course of the next 12 months. So make sure you go and check out those endeavours and keep an ear out for announcements in the YouTube community page. In the meantime, if you want to contribute to the way this channel is growing, invest as much effort as you can into engaging with the project in comments in the YouTube videos, including suggestions and feedback. Any comments that I receive help a lot as it shows YouTube that there's a level of engagement between me and the audience, and I also love the fact that it reinforces the collaborative nature of the project. You are already playing a primary role as members of the project in the selection of the settings, and this will be doing the same thing with threats going forward into the future, so make sure you go and keep an eye out for new polls as they're being released. This is likely to also include in the future an establishment of a live streaming channel, whether it's here on YouTube or over on Twitch, where we can do different aspects of the world building project, potentially in a more collaborative environment. This could be something like doing World Anvil updates, or developing maps and flags, or other content links to the project. So keep a lookout as we launch the Journey in World Building live streaming channel. But I think that's where we're going to leave it today in this state of the project video. Thank you again so much for all the support in helping this channel and this project grow well beyond what my original expectations were. This is, at its core, an opportunity for me to indulge in my world building and creative storytelling passions, and the fact there's been such an amazing success is incredible, and I thank you so much for the opportunity to share this with you week in, week out. But that is it for today. Thank you so much. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and may the journey continue into 2025.
Hey!